Steph! Hi. Um, Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. Um, so I know I've been very bad about the whole keeping in touch thing, and I know it seems that I ignored you all, which is not the case. I feel like such a schmuck for that. But I was very busy. I had lots of church stuff and family stuff. Um, and I'm sure you guys were busy in with Naga in Istanbul anyway. So, but I hope that was all fun and that you enjoyed your holidays. I hope you've been enjoying yourself in France. I'm still very jealous, but I'm sure you're doing very well. Um, in honor of the holidays, I wanted to give you a tarot reading for old time's sake, because I figured I haven't given you one in several months, and since I don't really know how you are, I thought this might fill me in. So, okay, so I already shuffled. Now, the deck I'm using is one I got for Christmas. It's like the oldest deck that we know of, basically, or it's modeled off of it, frankly. And it's called the Tarot de Marseille. So I thought you would get a kick out of it. I thought I would use it for you. Because I'm going to do readings for our other sisters in Christ, and I might not use this for them, but for you, I wanted to use the Tarot de Marseille. Anywho, so I already shuffled and cut, and I'm gonna do a basic Celtic cross for you guys, just so because that gives a pretty general amount of information, and it's clear. So your overall situation, Steph, my darling, is the Tower. Oh, there it is. I'll show you the pictures in case you're curious. Here's the Tower. Crossing you is the Hermit. Interesting. Crowning you is the Queen of Pentacles. She's got a big nose. Grounding you is the Eight of Cups. Not much to look at there. Waning in the past or past influence is the Knight of Wands. A new influence that is yet to kind of make itself known is the World, and that's positive. How you are seeing yourself or projecting yourself in the situation, ooh, you would, is as the Queen of Wands. Oh, you totally would. Ugh, that's why I love you. Your environmental factors, or how other people see you in the situation, is the Six of Swords, or yes, swords. It's hard to distinguish between batons and swords. Your hopes and fears are the Ten of Cups. You have a lot of cups, dear. And your overall result is the Ten of Swords. Okay, this is a very interesting situation you have. I'm not going to lie. Underneath it all, however, as a positive, is the Ace of Swords. Yeah. Okay. Well, your overall situation or your internal sense of self is one of, well, you're finding yourself disappointed, and the expectations that you may have had about where you are now are perhaps crumbling underneath you. Now, what's weird about I can't tell if this is like a relationship type of thing or if it's just feeling kind of lonely where you are. I think you may have expected this experience to be a little more fun, um, or something along those lines. You've wanted to have more of a sense of either, I don't know, community or family, a greater sense of enjoyment. And the reality of it is that has not really met your expectations. Um, you feel like you've had to kind of abandon some of those expectations. Because in the past, I think either, if I saw this as a relationship issue, the Knight of Wands in your past um, could be the individual that you're particularly interested in or have been interested in the past. Um, it could be someone even like, Dan Decker. Gosh, that's a blast from my past anyway. Gosh, I feel like I haven't heard about Dan Decker in forever. Uh, but um, I don't know. I think I could read it either way. I'm not sure. Um, hmm. Well, also bear with me because I haven't read with this deck very much yet, especially not for other people. But I do get the sense that the Knight of Wands could be another person. If it were an aspect of you, I would say it's your adventuring side, the side of you that wants more fun, more excitement, things to explore, things to do, um, important jobs to do, that sort of thing. Um, I don't know. I mean, the overall obstacle that you have to approach, or the thing that you have to integrate, is the Hermit. So it implies that there's an issue of solitude here that you may be dealing with. Um, Perhaps a level of pragmatism that may be an issue. The Hermit is Virgo, and Virgo is a very practical sign. Um, so that could be an issue here. Your intuition is telling you that the best possible outcome, or what you should be focusing on, is the Queen of Pentacles. And the way I read her in this situation, she's intently focused on her little suit symbol there. I know she's got a schnoz that could poke your eye out, but um, but more importantly, she is engrossed in her suit symbol, which is a symbol of money and financial stability. Um, so it could be an issue in that sense too. Um, I'm almost getting the sense now that like maybe money is tight at the moment, and that's what's restricting some of your freedom at the moment, because she is so focused on her material end of things, and she herself is very practical. Um, and the tower itself can represent, to some extent, loss of stability in one's checkbook sometimes, and that would come kind of suddenly. Um, I don't know. I mean, I hope that you're okay. It doesn't seem like anything else. I mean, it doesn't seem like you've gotten in an accident, God forbid, or anything like that. This not to freak you out, um, but no, it just the tower is not the most optimistic card. However, the fact that you have the Ace of Swords underneath it all is does show that the tower, in its destructive force at the moment, as far as I guess defeating some of your expectations, or perhaps defeating some of your financial freedom. Um, in that sense, you're meant to gain a better sense of clarity from that. That from that will emerge, uh, I guess, better solutions, which is important. So it may mean that you'll have to tone down kind of your adventuring side, and become much more practical, a little more homey in a way, um, which is going to be hard because you, as the Queen of Wands, as you're projecting yourself in this as the great seductress or my power animal, um, you know, you're at the same time as you need to be intent on practical things in the Queen of Pentacles, you yourself want to be very intent on, I suppose I could say carnal pleasure, but in general, things relating to sexuality, things relating to fun and amusement. Um, I guess more things that are more attractive than the doldrums of regular life. But how other people see you as the Six of Swords, I think, also clues us in to the idea that you're experiencing a kind of clarity, a kind of revelation about your situation, as disappointing as it may be. Um, but people think that I think people see you as on the right track. People see you as um, maybe learning very important skills, um, as being sensible about the whole thing. Um, I don't know. Yeah. Again, I talked about that already. What the influence that's coming into the fore in the future, in the immediate future, excuse me, is the world, which is interesting. You're going to be focusing, it seems, more on just completion and getting this all done. Which is why, again, I know I sort of suggested that this might be about a relationship with a specific person, namely the Knight of Wands. Um, but I don't know. It's not really quite speaking to me quite that way anymore. Because it seems more like you're just anticipating your program to finish, frankly. Um, that at this point you're just looking forward to the year being over, um, and I think coming home probably. Um, you may be homesick, frankly. Um, but it does tell you to persevere, to focus on, again, to focus on your monetary obligations, and to focus on, I guess, to continue focusing on the learning of skills, and to remember that what you're doing is something that will potentially help you for throughout your life for what it is you want to do. Um, that it is a good experience that may be eventually usable as a tool for your further progress in your career. Because underneath, if I were to go further into the deck, underneath the Ace of Swords is, well, the Knight of Swords, which I could say is an echoing of the Ace of Swords, which does imply um, good. Oh, what the heck word do I want to say? I don't want to use the word clarity again because I think if I say it one more time, I'm going to throw up. But something like that. um, Greater understanding about things. I don't know. I don't know what I want to say. Um, your overall result is the Ten of Swords, and I think this indicates that well, you're going to get the ending that you want, um, or rather, you're going to get the conclusion aspect, since that's what you want. You want it to be over, and it's going to be over. But it's not. It is going to continue to be difficult. There's a lot of difficulty inherent in the tower as describing you, and the hermit to some extent. Feeling like you have to rely on yourself a lot to get through issues or obstacles, challenges, that sort of thing. Relying on yourself a lot. Now, and the Ten of Swords as an overall outcome, to me, represents a lot of fighting, a lot of struggle, and not in a way that's like for a good cause or something like that. It's more just like frustrating conflict and issues with other people and that sort of thing. Um, So as the overall, but it does represent the end of those conflicts. It's kind of the idea that if you war long enough, eventually it has to end, and it may be very destructive. But the idea inherent in the Ten of Swords is again that, despite the difficulty of the situation, um, there is a seed of potential still in it, for you to have matured from this, but also to have developed some skills that you may be able to use in the future. That's another aspect of the world too, I think, is maturity and learning from others around you, from key life experiences. Um, so that's important, I think. You know, so while on one hand, I think you do want it to be over, to end, um, because that's how I see the world. I don't see the world as something that is imminent, because of course there's a lot of academic year left, and so I see it more as like your focus for the next few months, where the influence that you're going to be working towards, and it's just going to be completion of your track. And I realize my hair is doing all sorts of funky shit right now as it dries. Just get out of the shower, and I need a haircut as usual. But if you notice, I am not twirling at the moment. I try really hard not to. It's been bad. Just what you want to know, right? All my psychological issues. But Steph is my doctor, so you should know. Um, Anywho, so I think this is overall. This is I think this is a reading that shows um, that does show that your situation is not necessarily ideal, but that it is a learning opportunity, and that's equally important. That's very important. That this trip, that your trip and your time abroad is not necessarily a time for fun and games, as much as you would like them to be. And I know you see yourself as kind of in a position of power right now, to some extent, power over your own body and over your. I know this sounds kind of funny, but the Queen of Wands, I think, is like the strong black woman of the tarot. She is really just. I mean, she's seductive, but also kind of dominating, and um, she can be manipulative if badly aspected, but she isn't here. Um, so I do think, well, maybe that is part of it to some extent. Maybe you do want to have more say over your situation, and you don't necessarily. The fact that the overall situation is described by two major arcana does suggest that a lot of this is out of your hands. Your emotional response to it, however, is something that you can, deal with and mitigate. And I do keep finding myself drawn to the Ten of Cups that you have in your hopes and fears, what you're aiming for throughout all this. And again, it's just, I can either see that as, longing for home, longing for friends and family. Um, I think that may be a big part of this. Um, yeah, that's what I would say. And I don't know if this is accurate. I'm hoping that it is. I'm also, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not used to really reading with this deck yet. But that's what it said, and it was French, for better or worse. Here it is again. Oh, if you can sort of see it. Ah, there they are. They're kind of bizarre looking, but they're really cool. I don't know. I like them. They'll never replace my Crawley deck, but I don't know if anything will. Alright, Stephanie Alamena, I miss you very much, and I wish you only the best for this new year and for the coming months ahead of you. I hope you are staying healthy, that you do manage to find some fun, and that you do have supportive people around you. I love you very much, and let me know how this reading was, if you found it useful at all. All right, take care. Bye.